Did you know on average, people make over 200 decisions around food per day? That's a lot, and making all those decisions every day is so exhausting, especially when you're discussing that with your partner multiple times a day, every day. Sometimes it's nice to be able to enjoy a healthy meal without having to think about it, talk about it, or do anything really. That's why I love Factor. These are fully prepared, dietitian designed meals that are ready in about 2 minutes. They're packed with lean proteins, colorful veggies, healthy fats, no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners. They're just real food that supports your goals without requiring anything from you except pressing a button on the microwave. Right now, I am loving their lemon herb grilled chicken. It's a meal I'm always in the mood for, no matter what, and it always makes me feel good. And we're also loving their smoky Gouda mac and shredded beef. It is so nice to have Factor at the end of a long day when I just don't even want to think about anything or do anything, but I still want to eat healthy. There are over 100 rotating weekly meals, so it never gets boring. There are categories like high protein, low carb, vegetarian, fiber filled, and even a Muscle Pro collection if you're focused on strength and recovery. Whatever you're focusing on, whatever your goals you're working towards with your health, there's something for you at Factor. Head to factormeals.com/DI50off and use code DI50off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. That's factormeals.com/DI50off with code DI50off. Eat like a pro this month with Factor. New subscribers only, varies by plan, one free breakfast item per box for 1 year while subscription is active. Dating Intentionally is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians, these are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds, because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations. When do you stop seeing other people, and how do you actually bring it up? Not knowing where you stand with someone is one of the worst feelings in dating, and it's the question I get asked almost more than anything else. So let's get into it. Welcome back to Dating Intentionally. I'm Talia. I'm sharing no-nonsense advice for navigating dating and relationships with confidence and ease, whether you've been dating for a while or you're just getting started. I believe dating can be fun, and I'm here to help you enjoy the process. Every week, I do a Q&A on Instagram, and I get hundreds of questions from the community, which I love. But one topic remains the most popular, and I always get a handful of questions that ask, when do you talk about exclusivity? How do you bring up only seeing each other? So we're going to get all the way into exclusivity in dating today, because this is the one thing that I know so many people who are dating trip on. And I'm going to talk about defining the relationship too, but if you want more of a deep dive on that, I did an episode all about it a while ago, so I'll link that in the show notes, because this episode is going to focus more on the exclusivity piece. The moment you mutually decide to stop seeing other people and focus only on your connection is truly one of the trickiest things to navigate in early dating, whether you are in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whether you've been dating for a while or you're just new to the process. It is hard. The first moment of many early on where you're like, okay, we like each other enough and we like our connection enough to go all in and close ourselves off to new connections, new people, and all that. In a culture where entertaining multiple potential romantic connections at once is the norm, this is a significant step in monogamous dating, and it can be really romantic and special. So we're going to go into a super quick recap of exclusivity and defining the relationship, what to look for before you even take that step towards commitment, when to bring up moving the relationship forward, and how to actually talk about it. We'll also get into situationships, because this is the moment where so many situationships start. And at the end, we have a pretty dramatic dating dilemma from a woman whose boyfriend's male best friend is getting in the way of their relationship in a pretty toxic way. By the way, the advice in this episode and in my show in general is best for folks who are dating for a long-term relationship. That being said, the same framework of what I'm going to talk about today applies no matter what you're looking for, right? First, we have to know what we want and what that looks like. Then we do the work of reflecting. Then we actually have a conversation to get on the same page. It's the same steps whether you're looking for long-term or casual. I also asked my monogamous queer listeners about this moment in dating where you're talking about only seeing each other. And they said that the conversation is pretty much the same, but I want to acknowledge that I'm offering one version of this in this episode that works well if you're monogamous. Are there other ways to navigate this? Yes, of course. But this is what I found works best if you're dating with intention and not playing games. And by the way, before we get into it, I just want to say you can follow me on Instagram at dating.intentionally, and you can send me a message. I love reading all your DMs. So slide into my DMs, send me a question, tell me what's going on in your dating life. I would love to hear from you. You can also shoot me an email at talia@datingintentionallypod.com. And if you are listening to this, but you would prefer to watch, you can come and hang out with me on YouTube. All of my episodes are there. And super quick shout out to everyone who has followed, rated, reviewed, subscribed to the show. Thank you so much. It is truly amazing that you're here, and I appreciate you just so much. So thank you. Okay, let's talk about the difference between being exclusive with someone and defining the relationship, because this is something that I know a lot of people have opinions about. Let me know in the comments what you think about exclusivity versus defining the relationship. Are they the same thing? Are they different? Let me know your take in the comments. To me, defining the relationship means that you're having a discussion about what you are to each other. That is usually going to look like deciding together to call each other girlfriend, boyfriend, partner. You're basically saying we're officially a couple and we're publicly going to present that way, and we're taking our connection seriously enough to deepen our commitment to each other. That is the defining the relationship moment. We're more than friends, we're more than lovers, we're more than a vague situationship. We are a couple. And in my opinion, exclusivity is a short period of time, a couple weeks, before you get to that stage where you're only seeing each other romantically, but you're not necessarily ready to publicly say like, oh, this is my boyfriend, this is my girlfriend, partner, whatever. You've committed to focusing on each other, but you're not in a committed relationship yet. And this is really a thing for monogamy. If you're polyamorous, this conversation will definitely look different. Exclusivity is also only a milestone in early dating if one or both of you is dating multiple people or entertaining multiple connections. If you're someone who only sees one person at a time and they do as well, then this won't be as significant of a milestone, and you just might go directly into the define the relationship conversation instead. So one thing that's important to watch out for with this, when you are just exclusive without labeling anything for a long period of time, meaning more than a few weeks, that is situationship territory. If you're both looking for something serious and you're both actually ready for a relationship, exclusivity is a quick step towards becoming a couple. If it goes longer than a few months, it's a situationship. And that's what I want you to look out for. I don't want you getting stuck in this exclusivity stage where you're only seeing each other, but you're not defining things. That is not the way to go if you're looking for commitment. So how do you know when to bring this up? That is the $1 million question that I get asked every single week. Is it after 3 dates, 3 weeks, 3 months? Tell me again what you think in the comments below. I would love to hear from you when you think this conversation is supposed to happen. And before we get into this question, the first thing that I want you to consider is, how do you even know you want to be exclusive with this person? Are you just doing it because you're worried they're talking to other people and you want to lock them down? Let's get into it. Here are some signs you're actually ready to have this conversation. 1, you know you're not open to other connections. There's a difference between being open to other connections, even if you're not being proactive about it, and putting your stake in the ground and saying, I'm not interested in meeting anyone else, right? You can be receptive to someone flirting with you or someone messaging you, or maybe an old flame coming back because you're like, you know what, I do want to see what else is out there. That's being open to other connections, even if you're not actively swiping or asking people out or dating other people, right? You're still like, I'll see who comes my way. But if you know you are not open to that, you have no interest in entertaining other options, that's a really good sign. I know for me in my journey, there were moments where I was really excited about someone that I was dating, but I knew I was still open to other connections. I knew I wasn't done exploring yet. And that's how I knew I was not ready to be exclusive with someone. Again, you're making this move because you want to. It's not going to be out of insecurity, like, I need to get them to commit to me before I lose them or before they start talking to other people, and it's not coming from a place of, I won't believe they like me until I know they're only seeing me, right? That's dating and making these decisions from insecurity, not because you actually want to be exclusive with them. The second sign is that so far you have found what you're looking for in them and you want to give it a real shot. Have they shown the consistency you're looking for? Have they shown interest in your life? Do you like hanging out with them? Do they add some peace to your life or just something in your life that you were craving and looking for? Do you feel calm for the most part with them? Other than like the standard jitters and nerves you might feel when you're getting to know someone you're excited about, do you feel like you can be yourself or are you on edge? Are they aligned on your relationship goals? Have you discussed what you both want, right? These are all the questions, like based on what you know so far, do they seem like they align with what you're looking for? Obviously, in early dating, there's still a lot to learn about them at this point, so you could still be wrong about them. They might not be a good fit down the line, but with the information you have about the dynamic you share, is it what you're looking for? If yes, that's a great sign. You're not going to have the whole picture, but at this point, you've spent enough time with them, getting to know them, that they fit what you're looking for. And I think another mistake people make here is they wait way too long to ask themselves these questions. They're like, well, I need to be 100% sure about someone before we talk about being exclusive. That's not how it works. That would take forever. And you're never going to be 100% sure about someone, ever. Unfortunately, I know it's not fun to hear, but it's just not a thing. We're aiming for like 98% sure. And that won't come in the early stages of dating. That's going to come way down the line after you've been together for at least a year. So in this short period of time where you're getting to know them, they're new to your life, you don't need to wait until you know for sure that it's going to work out, because that's just impossible. You're still taking a risk, unfortunately. Okay, the third sign is that you've seen them for at least a month and at least 4 times. Of course, this is different for long distance. Or if you're a parent and you can only go on a date once every 10 days or something because of your schedule, no matter your situation, you have to spend a good amount of time with someone before you can say you kind of have a sense of who they are and what your dynamic is together, and that you'd actually choose to be in that dynamic. Remember that what you see is what you get. If they're hard to schedule with early on, if they're not responsive and it feels like pulling teeth to get to know them, that's not going to get better down the line. Another mistake I see people make is jumping into the exclusivity conversation after 3 dates. That's a little bit early. I wouldn't make any calls about someone's character after only spending less than 20 hours with them in person. Again, we've heard all about the slow bird. We definitely want to tap into that here as well. So to recap, you are ready to have the exclusivity conversation when you know you only want to focus on them, when they fit what you're looking for so far, and you know that because you've been dating for them for at least a month and seeing them consistently. When it comes to modern dating, your loyalty and commitment is not a given. It's earned, right? And that goes both ways. This is why I have a little bit of an issue with folks who expect exclusivity right away in this culture where it's not like that. We have to actually get to know someone to see if they want to even give them that level of access to us, if they've earned it through their character. If they're someone we actually want to go to that level of commitment with, it's not something that's just given right away. Another question I get asked a lot is, should I just wait for them to bring it up? The answer is you can. And I get it. Ladies, if you're listening, you might want the guy to bring it up. And guys, if you're listening, know that a lot of women prefer you take the lead. Of course, on my show, with my approach to dating, I don't like to pay attention to gender roles as much because I feel like it gets in the way. There's nothing a guy is supposed to do and a girl is supposed to do. It's just people coming together to co-create the relationship. So you can wait for the other person to bring exclusivity up, but I just don't like this idea that the person who brings it up first is losing somehow, or that the guy has to drive these milestones or it doesn't count. I don't buy it. So what matters is that the conversation happens, not who starts it. I think that if you're starting to feel like you're ready, it's okay to hang back for a little bit to see what they do if you want to give them the space to initiate that conversation. But I also want you to be ready to do it yourself because I don't want you waiting forever. Just know that whoever is on the other side of this conversation, when you bring it up, they're going to probably feel happy, relieved, and excited if they're on the same page as you, if they feel the same way, if it's mutual, right? Just know that that is how that's going to be received. I mean, think about it. Think about it if you were receiving this, how you would feel. So just know that it's a welcome conversation when you're in a great match. Okay, after the break, we're going to talk about how to actually have this conversation. We'll be right back. As you probably know by now, finding the right match in your love life is a challenge, but finding the right outfits to match your vibe has never been easier thanks to Quince. Whether you're searching for that perfect cashmere sweater or that ideal coat for spring, timeless accessories, or even new sheets to refresh your bedroom, Quince has you covered. One of my favorite purchases from Quince that I use literally every day are their suede clog mules. I wear them when I take my dog Coconut out for her morning walk, and they're so comfy and durable. I've had them for over a year now, and they're still one of my go-to Quince items. And all of Quince's products are made from premium fabrics like 100% European linen, organic cotton, and cashmere at affordable prices. Everything is rated 4.5 to 5 stars by thousands of real customers, and the fit and stitching hold up season after season. The best part? Quince works directly with safe, ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen. You're not paying for brand markup or fancy retail stores, just quality clothing. Right now, go to quince.com/Talia for free shipping and 365-day returns. That's a full year to wear it and love it. And you will. Now available in Canada too. Don't keep settling for clothes that don't last. Go to quince.com/Talia for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Talia. You probably know that I'm not a huge fan of dating rules, but I do have house rules, and one of them is no big light. I will do anything to avoid turning on the overhead light. It's either going to be natural light, candlelight, or warm lamplight on always. And I know I'm not the only one. So when I finally decided to do something about the lighting in our dining room, I went to Wayfair. I got a lamp and a new rug, and I'm not exaggerating when I say it completely transformed the space. The lamp is so much better than the big light, and I don't know why, but the rug under the dining table makes me feel more like an adult. There's just something about having the right furniture that makes you feel like you have your life together sometimes. What I love about shopping Wayfair is how easy it is to find exactly what fits your style and budget. They have quality pieces for home offices, bedrooms, kids' rooms, just literally any room you have that you're looking to refresh. And the filters, the reviews, the photos from real customers take the guesswork out of buying things for your home online. I love that every time I order from Wayfair, the pieces arrive quickly. Also, my lamp was incredibly easy to put together, which I was not expecting. Whether you're doing a full spring refresh, hunting for the perfect accent piece, or just trying to make one room feel more like you, Wayfair makes it simple. Find furniture, decor, and essentials that fit your unique style and budget. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com, Wayfair. Every style, every home. Okay, welcome back. We're going to get into how to actually have this exclusivity conversation. It's nerve-wracking. It's scary. Like I said up top, it is one of the first moments of true vulnerability, really showing your cards like, okay, I like you and I like you enough to only focus on our connection. And I know that that can be really scary to say. So if you're saying this too early, if you're jumping the gun a little bit, you're going to come off as someone who is looking for a person to fill in a blank space in your life. Like you're just looking for a boyfriend or a girlfriend and choosing someone who seems good enough before you've even gotten to know them. And if you bring this up too late, it might be that you're already on the path to a situationship. Relationships that don't get defined after months and months often feel confusing. Imagine not knowing where you stand with someone for months. That sounds awful, and I don't want this to be you. When you bring up exclusivity, please, whatever you do, don't ask, what are we? And don't ask, are you seeing anyone else? This question can be harmless, but unless you're discussing it in the context of sexual safety, it can come off as controlling and possessive in early dating, especially think about it in the first few dates before you really know each other. The better way to do it, the more mature way to do it, is to share where you stand first. And yes, that's the scarier way to do it. When I was dating, I typically entertained 3 matches at once, meaning I was usually talking to 3 people, going on dates and getting to know them, not sleeping with them. But most of my dates didn't even make it to the first or second date. So I was rotating a lot. And there were a few points where I decided to only focus on one person. And in person, this is what I would say. I'd be like, hey, I really like where this is going, and I'm only seeing you right now. And they would typically respond like, me too. That would just typically be the response. The guys that I got that far with, like at least 5 or 6 dates with, usually weren't seeing anyone else by the time we decided to be exclusive. And that only happened 4 times in my year-long dating journey. With Johnny, he revealed to me very early on that he was only talking to me, but he didn't ask if I was talking to anyone else. I think he knew that I was. And ultimately, that conversation of, are you seeing anyone else when you've only had a few dates, isn't going to lead anywhere positive if the answer is yes. We don't need to bring the idea of competition into the room with us. Even if we know that it's kind of there, we don't need to name it and have that be part of the dynamic on a date. It definitely kills the vibe. It definitely kills the romance. So that's why I don't love the idea of bringing this up super early and asking, are you seeing anyone else, when it's like the first or second date, because it immediately puts the other person of like, I don't know you. This isn't really any of your business. So let me know if you agree or not on that. I know that can be a little harsh. And I just don't think that you need to reveal all that information to someone that you're getting to know in a romantic context. Again, it's different if you are sleeping together and that is more of a sexual safety conversation. Are you, having sex with other people? That's a different conversation than, are you dating other people? But I will say, if Johnny asked me if I was seeing other people, I would have said, I'm exploring connections until I find what I'm looking for, or something like that, which is totally reasonable in today's dating culture. This is a pretty delicate moment, and I recognize how hard it is to navigate the lack of balance and mutuality sometimes, where you really don't know what they're doing. They don't really know what you're doing. You don't know where each other stands, and you haven't built the trust to talk about it yet. It is tricky. It is delicate and scary. So I just want to acknowledge this. Sometimes you will be on the same page with someone and you can kind of sense that. Sometimes it'll be harder to read whether or not they're talking to other people. Whatever you do, don't assume either way and have the conversation when you're ready. So, okay, let me just back up and make sure that I'm giving you a line. And I will put this line in the show notes. But the line is like, hey, I'm really enjoying our connection and I wanted to let you know that you're the only person I'm seeing. That's the gist. And you can send this through text if you want. I always want you to push you guys to do it in person, but I understand if that's too scary, you can do it over text too. So that's the line. That's what you're saying. You're like, I am enjoying where this is going and I want to let you know I'm only seeing you. Or I want to let you know I'm not using the apps anymore. Could be another way to say this. And then you just let it hang in the air, right? You let that hang and you see what they say. They might be like, oh yeah, I haven't been talking to anyone else since we met. Or they might say, thanks for letting me know. And, then you could be like, what about you, right? If you're sharing first, I think it's okay to then be like, so are you going to share? That's fine. I want you to lead with the vulnerability and openness because it makes it easier for the other person to meet you there versus being put on the spot with a question. So if they do say that they're still seeing other people, don't panic. Let that information settle in your brain and process it later. In this case, I would mentally set a timeline for having another check-in, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, to see where they're at. And if they're still seeing other people, you can decide to continue to explore other options as well or not. Obviously, it's hard to move forward knowing that you are more sure of them than they are of you. But sometimes that's just the uncomfy part of dating. Unfortunately, we don't all arrive at the same emotional milestones at the same time. And if they agree and they say they're also only seeing you, wonderful. Then ask them how they feel about using labels, calling each other boyfriend and girlfriend. This could be a good way to skip the whole exclusivity stage if you want. Some people, again, are really adamant about not settling for any exclusivity stage, even though I think it's a natural step towards becoming official. If they agree, you can just be like, hey, do you want to just make this official then? That's a totally fine thing to do as well. The last thing to keep in mind is that everyone has their own expectations and definitions of these things. So check in with them and get clear on what they think exclusivity means and how it compares to how you view it. Okay, so to recap, what you want to do here is let them know what you're doing and feeling first. Yes, it's vulnerable, but doing this will show them your standard for direct communication and that you're not afraid to be open. It's pretty hot, actually. So, what about the defining the relationship conversation, right? We talked about exclusivity and what that can look like. So, I have a previous episode where I got deeper into what the define the relationship conversation looks like, and I'll put that in the show notes. But the biggest takeaway I have for you really on this moment is that the define the relationship or DTR conversation isn't just like, okay, we're using labels now. It's also a conversation about what does it mean to be committed to in a relationship and what are the expectations. I wish more people had that conversation before diving in because it would save you from having some misunderstandings. For example, for you, being in a committed relationship might mean that now they're going to be invited to every family and friend gathering that you have. And to them, even though you are officially in a relationship, it could mean that there won't be any meeting of the family moment until after a year of dating, right? We want to get into the, okay, like we're a couple now. What does that mean to us? As for the initial conversation, which can be so fun and romantic and a little vulnerable, here are some tips. I want you to use the same approach that I mentioned above. If you're ready to make it official, share what you feel and what you want. Can you wait for them to say it first? Yes. Can you say it first as well? Yes. Don't ask, what are we? This kind of question backs them into a corner and puts all the power on them as well. When you proactively state what you want, you are opening the door for a productive and open conversation because you're leading with that openness. And finally, this should be a fun conversation. You're deciding to become an actual couple and unit. It's a great moment, so definitely highlight its significance and celebrate it. In my previous relationship before my husband, we started calling each other boyfriend and girlfriend after I clumsily hurt myself and my ex pulled out his first aid kit and he goes, I've never had to use this on a girlfriend before. And as he was bandaging me up, I was like, oh, I'm your girlfriend now? And he was like, yeah, you are. And that was that. And that was like a little over a month into dating. And then with Johnny, I remember he started making jokes about me not wanting to be called his girlfriend yet, or like he would kind of joke about the conversation, which I knew even then was his way of signaling to me that he wanted to have it. But I wasn't ready. And that's basically what I said. And then a week or two later, I remember we were at lunch and he had a phone call with his mom and he was talking about me because I was there. And afterwards I was like, okay, you can call me your girlfriend. And that was that. And that was the first weekend that we spent together fully. Like we had sleepovers and everything. And it was magical and so memorable. Both times, that I can, in my recent memory, it was simple, a little funny, and really sweet. It doesn't have to be a formal sit down, and no matter what, you will remember it. Before we get into the situationship trap, I do want to touch on one thing, which is that if you decide to become exclusive, you might be wondering, when do you then have the define the relationship conversation? Again, I think exclusivity is going to be 2 to 4 weeks max. I don't want you to be stuck in this for longer than a month. There's no point. It's truly just the period of time where we like each other enough to only see each other, but we're not ready for the labels. That is valid. It's okay because it's so early on. You're like, I'm not ready. I've only known this person for 6 weeks. It's okay to not be ready for labels. So that is the timing. And in terms of the conversation, when you're ready for labels, you can kind of be like, hey, I'm really liking this and I'm kind of ready to call you my whatever, girlfriend, boyfriend, or partner, whatever label you're using. That conversation will actually be easier once you've had the exclusivity talk already because you're kind of doing it again. You're just saying, hey, let's level up. Let's go to the next level here. So you've already built that muscle. You've already built that trust together and it's easier to get to that step. And that is so important to do because I want you to avoid the situationship trap like your life depends on it because it's just a waste of time. And unfortunately, in this whole exclusivity or DTR moment, this is the moment where situationships are born. And most of the time, it's because when you're talking about where you stand with each other, it ends up being this half of a vague conversation without any clarification or alignment. and then you never bring it up again. That is a one-way ticket to situationship land. So just so we're on the same page, a situationship is where your relationship can't move forward because you're not aligned on commitment. It could be that one of you wants a relationship, the other doesn't, and you keep seeing each other. Like, why? What are you doing? And sometimes it's a mutual avoidance, right? You're both into each other, but you're both scared. So neither of you says anything out loud and then just keeps dating with an undefined relationship. Either way, it's not a fun place to be stuck in. So, to avoid the trap, here is what I want you to do. First, be clear on your dating goals going into this conversation. If you're looking for something serious, that means that you're both committed to seeing where that goes, spend time together, and if you're monogamous, you're only seeing each other. Second, if they seem vague or they're not sure about what they want, you don't have to settle for that. You can give them a little time, a couple weeks, set a mental date for 2 weeks later to check in again, but don't let them keep you on the hook for months waiting for them. If you've timed this conversation well, meaning you've been dating consistently for 2 to 3 months, maybe more, it's completely reasonable to expect them to know what they want. You don't need to wait around indefinitely. And a complete conversation around defining the relationship means you actually get a clear answer, not a, yeah, I mean, I'm not really seeing anyone else, I guess, non-answer. State what you want, hear what they want, and get on the same page. And if their answer is vague, that's a red flag. If you bring up exclusivity or define the relationship and they pull back, go cold, or suddenly become unavailable, that's also an answer. And you just saved yourself so much time and stress. The right person is going to be so amped up that you brought it up. They're going to be relieved and they're going to be so excited to get to that next step with you. This is dating intentionally, not dating maybe let's see what happens when they decide if they want to commit to me. The standard is they know what they want, it matches what you want, and you move forward together in the same direction. Or you're not aligned, you've given it a fair shot, and you move on. You deserve someone who can be all in and match your energy. So this is a lot. I hope this helped you kind of get clear on what exclusivity is and isn't, what defining the relationship is, and how to have these conversations, and most importantly, when to do it so you don't get stuck in a situationship. After the break, we'll get into this very dramatic dating dilemma. For years, Johnny and I have been unwinding together every day by curling up on the couch to watch Star Trek. He's got his small pour of bourbon, he makes sure my water bottle is full, and we share our favorite chocolate. But sometimes I want something fun to drink that isn't alcohol, and I'm so glad that I have Peak's new delicious aperitif, Vesper, as an option. Vesper was created as a better evening ritual. It's a non-alcoholic, adaptogenic aperitif designed to help you relax without compromising your health or dealing with disrupted sleep. And it's not just that Vesper tastes great. Ingredients like L-theanine, tart cherry, lemon balm, and elderflower work together to calm your body and your mind. While enjoying Vesper during our unwinding time, I can feel myself relaxing more, which is something that I really need help with. I've tried a ton of non-alcoholic drinks over the last few years, and I truly love the taste of Vesper. It's got sour cherry and grapefruit and feels so refreshing to drink, and I love that it's not overly sweet. Just pour it over a glass of ice and sparkling water and enjoy. Commit to intentional unwinding. Unlock 10% off for life and establish a healthier relationship with your evenings at peaklife.com/dating. That's PIQUE life.com/dating. When you're on a date, you need to be focusing on, do I like them? Do I enjoy talking to them? Which is hard to do if you're not feeling comfy in what you're wearing, especially if your underwear is bugging you. The worst is when you're on a date and you sit down and you realize you picked the wrong underwear. And trust me, I have been there. And I want to tell you about MeUndies. The difference is so noticeable. Everything I have from MeUndies, from the bralettes to the underwear, are breathable and stretchy and so comfy. There's no adjusting, no irritation, just all day comfort. And they have all these new spring prints that are adorable. And maybe your date will see them later, maybe they won't. Either way, you feel good in them, and that's what matters. Honestly, I love them so much that I look forward to laundry day just to get them back in my rotation, and make of that what you will. MeUndies has styles for everyone, from classic basics to fun seasonal prints, and sizes from extra small to 4XL, so you get a flattering fit no matter what. Their ultra modal fabric is softer than soft. It's perfect for all day wear, whether you're working from home or out and about. There's a reason why MeUndies has sold over 30 million pairs and has 90,000 five-star reviews. Right now, as a listener of my show, you can get 20% off your first order plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/dating, promo code dating. That's 20% off plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/dating, promo code dating. As you probably know by now, finding the right match in your love life is a challenge, but finding the right outfits to match your vibe has never been easier thanks to Quince. One of my favorite purchases from Quince that I use literally every day are their suede clog mules. I wear them when I take my dog Coconut out for her morning walk, and they're so comfy and durable. I've had them for over a year now, and they're still one of my go-to Quince items. And all of Quince's products are made from premium fabrics like 100% European linen, organic cotton, and cashmere at affordable prices. The best part? Quince works directly with safe, ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen. You're not paying for brand markup or fancy retail stores, just quality clothing. Right now, go to quince.com/Talia for free shipping and 365-day returns. That's a full year to wear it and love it. And you will. Now available in Canada too. Don't keep settling for clothes that don't last. Go to quince.com/Talia for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Talia. All right, welcome back. So here we go. By the way, you can submit your dating dilemma in the show notes. There's a link that says ask me a question. Thank you to everyone who submitted. I love reading these and I love being able to share them with our listeners. Okay. I'm 36, female, and my boyfriend is 37, male. We've been together for 4 months. When it comes to our relationship, everything is great. Open, consistent communication, and we've met each other's families. The one negative is his best friend, who he has known for 14 years. Initially, this friend was supportive of my boyfriend when he was on the apps and talking to other women. But now that my boyfriend and I are exclusive and things are serious, this friend has voiced that he feels like we are going too fast and that my boyfriend should go back to the apps and that we should see other people. This friend is a 45-year-old male, and he's married, and he and my boyfriend see each other weekly. They've had many late-night arguments until 2 or 3 a.m., as my boyfriend keeps maintaining that he wants to stay exclusive with me, but the friend says manipulative and controlling things like, if you cared how I feel, you would slow down, and even threatened self-harm. Clearly, this is quite toxic behavior. About a month ago, things got bad, and my boyfriend stood me and my parents up at a lunch that he confirmed the day before because his friend acted up and made my boyfriend feel like crap, and they were fighting and arguing until 5 a.m. Not only that, but he made my boyfriend feel like the only option was to break up over the phone with me while he was nearby overhearing the conversation. In an ideal world, my boyfriend would love both me and his friend to get along. Mind you, I haven't met this friend and he won't meet me even though I've offered. I feel the friend's behaviors are possessive and controlling and almost like he's in love with my boyfriend. My boyfriend is finally seeing the light and he's exhausted and seeking professional help. I have sought help too. I guess now that 4 dates have been canceled at late notice, all indirectly due to this friend, I'm wondering how long do I stay by my boyfriend's side and when is it too much? It's good that we're getting help. It's a big step. But since the friend won't get help himself, I don't think this behavior will change. So it'll be about when my boyfriend can uphold his boundaries, but it could take some time. My boyfriend maintains that he wants to be with me exclusively and spend more time with me, but he's acting out of fear of the friend. He's even scared to organize dates now because of the potential acting up by his friend. It's really sad and upsetting. Thank you, Talia. Love your podcast. Okay, this one's really intense, and I really appreciate you for sharing this. I also just want to name what's happening here, which is sad and screwed up, that this friend is using emotional manipulation to control your boyfriend's behavior. Some of those things you mentioned, like him saying, if you cared how I felt, you would slow down, is textbook manipulation, and it frames your boyfriend's healthy choices as acts of betrayal against a friend. And the self-harm threats are also a form of coercion. This is not a friendship. This is someone using fear and guilt to keep your boyfriend from moving forward in his life. And what's really hard is that you probably know this, but your boyfriend probably won't be able to accept that. I mean, after 14 years of friendship, there needs to be, I would say, like an intervention level situation for him to wake up and realize that this is not a healthy friendship at all, and he needs to cut this person out of his life. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to give you my straight answer, and then I'll offer some nuance. My straight answer is that you probably shouldn't be with this person, unfortunately, because this friend and the relationship he has with this friend is really going to get in the way of you building a healthy foundation together. Like you said, he can't even organize dates and he's canceled on you a bunch because of this friend. And it sucks. I mean, that is so hard. And I want to offer some nuance here. I don't think it's just like one and done, walk away, it's over. But that was my gut advice when I read this. And I know it's hard to hear, when everything between you feels good otherwise, but you shouldn't have to be navigating late night blowups, canceled plans, and a third party who's using self-harm threats to control your boyfriend's relationship. It doesn't matter really where it's coming from. It's still your reality if you stay. Your boyfriend sounds like a genuinely good person who's caught in something really unhealthy, and my heart goes out to him. But that's his work to do, not yours. You can care about him and still decide this is something that you don't want to take on this early on in a relationship. And the fact that you've already sought help for someone else's friendship dynamic, that you've known for 4 months, tells me that this has already cost you a lot. And you asked, when is it too much? I think it might already be too much. That said, if you're not ready to walk away, here are some things to think about. Is he actually making progress, right? You said your boyfriend's getting help. Is he making progress? Is he able to act as his own person without his friend emotions and whatever else getting in the way? Is he keeping plans with you? Is he being transparent and actually sharing what's going on? These are signs that he is actively choosing you, even while navigating something difficult. But if the cancellations keep happening and if his words aren't aligning with his actions, that's your answer. I mean, and it's separate from the friend at that point as well. You deserve a partner whose life you can enter without a battle. Give yourself permission to want that. And that's why, again, I think the best option here is removing yourself from the situation, because it just sounds like a lot. And I don't know your boyfriend, but I think if it were me, I would really have to consider after 14 years whether this person would be able, to cut that friend out of their life. And I'm thinking about that as if I was your boyfriend's friend, not this guy, but like if I knew your boyfriend as a person, not even dating him, like I would be like, yo, this relationship is really getting in the way of you living your best life. Have you considered maybe not being friends with this person anymore? And I know that's way easier said than done in these situations, in these very toxic relationships, whether it's a friendship, family relationship, or a romantic relationship. Like, why isn't that on the table in your message to me? That wasn't even mentioned. So that's what would concern me most, that no one outside, like, think about it this way. Your boyfriend has been friends with this guy for 14 years. Has anyone in your boyfriend's life ever said, hey, maybe this friendship is unhealthy and you should consider not being friends with this person who's trying to control your life? That's the alarm bell for me that I'm thinking about. Why hasn't anyone else stepped in? I hope this helps. Thank you so much for submitting this. Also, if you're listening to this, if you have any takes on this, if you've experienced something similar from whatever side, please let us know. I would love to hear from you in the comments on that. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for trusting me. Don't forget, you're doing great. And if you know someone who is navigating early dating and could use a confidence boost or fresh perspective, share this episode. And if this podcast has helped you, a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify goes a long way. Once again, I'm Talia. This has been Dating Intentionally, and I'll see you next time.